Okay, hello. So welcome to the first video of Understanding Blender, a playlist within our 3D course where we are going to learn every part of Blender separately and shortly, trying to grasp everything that we need to know about the tool or the interface. And then in other videos that are going to be based on challenges, you use this knowledge to create a render. So since it's this first video, we are starting out with Blender 5.1, and we are going to look at the interface and try to grasp or understand what is a viewport. So as you can see, when you open Blender for the first time, you see a lot of those things. Here you can open old projects, recover last session. This is basically would take you as a shortcut, would take you here, and there's a lot of things that you can do. Would take you to sites if you want to learn about the supports, you want to learn about the user communities. We are not invested with that, so we should tap here in the screen, and as you can see, the first thing that your eyes will land on is the cube and this big window. So this window in the center is called the viewport, and here is where our 3D world exists. Mind you are not existing in the 3D world, you are just looking at it. I know this is quite confusing for beginners. How do I look at a different world just from the screen of my PC? Is 2D and 3D in the same time, blah blah blah, a lot of things. You are going to grow familiar with it. So as I said, this is the 3D world. This is where your renders exist, your favorite Pixar movie exists, your favorite game asset, whatever is 3D originates here, and this is basically its homeland. One thing I want to think of, which is similar to how we interact with the viewport as artists, there is this cartoon, I don't know if you've watched it, about a little boy with chalk, and whatever he draws with chalk in a certain word comes to life. So this is basically your chalk word. It's just 3D. You're not existing within it, you are just looking at it, and you get to decide what exists, what not, and you get to craft, create, simulate, make physics, and a lot of things. So as you can see, every Blender file starts with a cube, a lighting, and a camera, and this exists here. Or let's say the people that coded or made Blender made it here to tell you that this is already a scene. So all you need to build a 3D scene is just an object, lighting, and a camera. That's already a valid scene that we can render and look at it from the camera. It has the lighting, it is already 3D. So as you can see, I can hover and look around the cube and look around the world. So part of the reason why this exists, as we said, to tell you that this is already a scene, but also if I delete everything or hide everything, it was here to mark presence. So now, as you can see, I'm looking into void, I'm looking into nothing. If I move a little bit using this hand, I would get lost. I would not know where am I, where I exist. So that's part of the reason why those three objects exist. So as you can see, I can look around, I can rotate the vision, look up and down, left and right, in front and in the back, and that's because I'm using, or what you can use is the middle mouse. So what you need to use is the middle mouse if you're using a mouse, or you are going to slide your fingers across the it's not a numpad, the mouse pad, if that's how it's called, on laptop. And here you can move the view using the hand, and which I believe in the mouse is shift and middle mouse to move around the view. Okay, as we said, we have a 3D word, we have a cube, and a lighting and a camera just to mark presence and tell us this is everything you need to have a render. I can rotate around it, like orbit around it. I can move using this hand, and that's pretty much me interacting with the 3D space. So as you can see here, you can see those lines, and whenever I move, you can see here this is moving. So basically, as evident as it is, those are the axes. So this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis, and there's the third one, which is the z-axis. So by default, it should be like here, yeah. By default, the x-axis is for left and right. Or am I in the opposite? This is right. Yeah, this is right, this is left. So left and right. The y-axis is for back and front, and the z-axis is for the depth, which means down and up and down, okay? But basically, it's based on how you position your object, okay? The cube is very similar from every view, but if you had like let's create a Suzanne. Suzanne is the monkey. You can see this is the front and back of Suzanne, but if I rotate it, the x-axis is now the front and back. So if there is a default, like a factual fact, which is x and y. X is left and right, y is front and back, but it's always basically based on the perspective of your mesh 3D object. Okay, so now that we know how to rotate around, we know which direction we're looking at, is there any way I can lock the vision or lock the screen to a direction? Okay, I can come here and lock it like that, but I'm just a human, so it's never perfectly aligned. What I want to do is look at the front side of Suzanne perfectly. I want to look at it in a symmetrical way. So what I can do, there is a lot of ways of doing it. What I can do is come here and ask my Blender what is the shortcut, or click basically. So let's say I want to look at Suzanne from the x-axis here. So what do? I go here and hover over it first. Shortcut numpad 3. If you drag it, you rotate the view, but if you click it, use a preset viewport, which means here I clicked it, and I can see now I centered the x-axis. I can look at Suzanne from the x-axis. They also said numpad 3, so if I click 3 on my numpad, I center the view to Suzanne's ear from the x-axis. Now, if I want to look at the other side, there is, if I move this a little bit, there is a different circle here that says -x, which is the other x, or the x on the other side. If I hover over it, it tells me, hey, my shortcut is Control Numpad 3. Of course, I can click on it and get what I want, but here it tells me shortcut is Control Numpad 3. But actually, I find that too long. So what I like to do is click 3. I'm on the x-axis. If I want to flip it, I click on 9. So 9 flips it. Okay, 9 is for flipping. Same way for the y. I can hover and it tells me, click on me to use me as a preset viewport, but my shortcut is Control Numpad 1 or Numpad 1. So I click on it. This is the y-axis, which is the back. If I want to go to the front, I click 9. Same way for the Z. Let me hover over it. It tells me Numpad 7. If I click on it, I look from the top. But I can always click 7 and then 9 to go to the back. And here you can see her shin. So this is basically how you move around with how you move around, and how do you center views. So apart from the lines and those three objects, there is this cursor which has a different separate video because there is a lot of things to talk about the cursor. And there is this grid. So this grid tells you what kind of preview you're looking at. So as you can see, this is when you hover over this, it tells you, hey, switch the current view from perspective orthographic projection using numpad 5. Okay, you don't have to use numpad 5, you can just click here, and as you can see, the difference is quite evident. This is perspective, and this is orthographic. So orthographic and perspective, we are going to talk about this all later, but for now, knowing those is very important for editing and many other things. You can switch the viewport to look either perspective or orthographic, and the same way you can switch your camera to be either perspective or orthographic. So as we said, this has an numpad 5, so whenever you click 5, it's switch. Okay. So I think this is it for the viewport.